Hi, friend. Welcome to the Clarity Tapes, where we press play on purpose and let every rewind, skip, and scratched up moment become part of the soundtrack that leads to clarity. I'm your host, Michelle Lynette, chaos coach, founder of MEESH Agency, and a woman who's learned that the mess doesn't mute the message. Hey, friend, welcome to the Clarity Tapes, where we press play on purpose and let clarity rise from the chaos. Every episode starts with a question, and it's not because I have all the answers, let's just get that out of the way, but because sometimes asking the right question is what gets us moving again. So I'm going to ask you something. Have you ever felt like you're stuck between tracks? And what I mean by that is like one chapter of your life has ended, but the next one hasn't started yet. Maybe you're not rewinding, but you're definitely not fast forwarding either. You're kind of in the in between. It's staticky, foggy, right in the middle where everything feels unclear and offbeat. If that's where you are, this track is definitely for you. I have lived in that middle, so you're definitely not alone. And let me be real with you, baby. That's exactly where clarity met me. So, before we drop into today's story, let's set the tone, the soundtrack for this episode, and start with today's affirmation. Purpose will meet me in the middle. Even here, I am not lost. So I want you to repeat that with me. Purpose will meet me in the middle. Even here, I am not lost. Let's press play on that truth today, and I want you to let it marinate, let it sink in, even repeat it to yourself. Let it loop in the background as we move through this episode together. Because the version of me behind this mic now, she was built right in the middle of the mess. And I'm going to take you back. We're going to rewind a bit and take you back to what my middle really looked like. Before MEESH Agency, before coaching or systems or affirmations, before rebuilding my relationship with my Lord and Savior, my life was on a whole different frequency. I was partying, running from pain, pouring into the wrong people. I was disobedient to the direction God was trying to pull me toward. And honestly, I was just disconnected from myself, from my purpose, and even my peace. Then everything, honestly, it hit me all at once. I was ending a toxic relationship. My son, my youngest, I have two kids. My son is 10 years old. Well, right now 10. My daughter's 13. When he turned 1, he was being hospitalized again and again for his seizures. He's had epilepsy since he was 6 months old, and that journey on its own has been a very, very long journey. I was barely keeping it together at the time and living paycheck to paycheck. So if you know that feeling, I was definitely feeling it heavy. I was trying to work a corporate job, momming through the chaos and just trying to survive. And then I broke. I fell apart. I went through some heavy depression, and I didn't want to be a part of this world anymore. And something kind of snapped. My mom told me to move back in with her. I was 27 years old. A 27-year-old, two kids, no job because I had to leave my corporate job at the time. And that means no income. I had no money, no income, no job. Two kids, 27, going back to live with her mom. And I had no plan. I had no backup plan. So for me, I was in this fog that I couldn't see through, and I felt like someone had hit a pause on my life. I felt stuck. I was living life black and white. I didn't see anything ahead of me. Being an adult, moving back in with my mom, I felt like my life was going backwards. Everything in my life at the time was taken away. I was being positioned in a place that I didn't know was positioning me for my future. I just saw myself stuck and so lost and trying to figure out, is it even a point for me to even be in this world? But God has a way of using the quiet parts of your tape to get your attention. And it led me to one night at my mom's house. I was sitting on the couch, just binging out of a Ben and Jerry's pint for the 50th millionth night in a row because I was depressed and I was an emotional eater. So Ben and Jerry's strawberry cheesecake ice cream became my closest friend and also gaining weight at the time. But I was just sitting there completely checked out. And I recall my daughter coming up to me and asking me, "Why don't you play with us like you used to?" And I'm going to pause for a minute because when she said that to me, it completely broke me. It definitely hit me so different than anything else could have hit me. And it was like God used her voice to hit record again, to snap me out of the numbness that I was feeling. That moment was the first crack of clarity. And it wasn't a big shift, but it was a signal, a whisper. And at that very moment, all because of my daughter asked me that one simple question. Because remember, sometimes you just have to ask the right question, and my daughter did at that very moment. And I chose to press play. From there, I didn't try to remix my whole life overnight. I just started small, one intentional step at a time. I didn't magically wake up the next day transformed. I was in this waiting period for at least 6 years. So there was no overnight glow up, no playlist of perfectly aligned moments. It was just one small decision at a time. And my first act of self-love was that I needed to move my body. That question my daughter asked me was definitely something that replayed in my mind over and over again. So I just wanted to move my body and I wanted to get strong. I didn't care at the time to snap back or get abs. I know if you follow me on social media, I was flaunting my abs like nobody's business. But at the very beginning of this journey, I didn't care for the physical aspects of it. I just wanted to get strong. I just needed to feel something again. And so I started with fitness blender workouts, the ones on YouTube's, and I worked out in my living room. And the moves were basic, and I got some equipment from Walmart. But every drop of sweat felt like I was pressing play again on me. Eventually, I ended up going to Gold's Gym and training with a trainer. And I remember telling them, I just want to feel strong. I want to learn how to lift heavy weights. I want to learn how to deadlift. I want to learn how to squat. I wanted to feel strong. I didn't want to be skinny. I knew that I didn't want to be perfect. I just wanted to feel strong because I had spent so long carrying the weight of life. I just needed to remind myself at that time that I could still carry me. And so with every lift, I felt a shift, not just physically, but also mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It was like the more I strengthened my body in the gym, the more my mind stopped playing the same stuck tape. I was rebuilding rep by rep, track by track, and even if I didn't know it yet, somewhere in the middle of all of that, I started hearing God again. It wasn't loud, it wasn't flashy. I was just getting these gentle nudges, these gentle reminders that I was still His, even in the mess. As I was piecing together this new version of my life, slowly but surely, even if the tempo wasn't always steady, I was just moving forward, persevering through what I had in front of me, embracing this new life, embracing the chaos that came with it. I wasn't going to allow chaos to work against me. So I picked up gigs. Even though I could not work at a corporate job at the time because I had to fully focus on my son's needs, I just picked up some gigs using Uber Eats. I did TaskRabbit, and I even started doing some random freelancing work through Upwork. I also even got back into modeling, and something about me, I've been in modeling industry since I was 8 years old. It was a huge part of my life. But, something I thought motherhood had permanently shelved, I started booking commercials again. I was getting back into something I enjoyed, I loved, I was passionate about. So I was doing photo shoots. I was traveling to LA to network and connect with people and book jobs. And then eventually I competed in 3 NPC bikini shows. The last show I did was during COVID. So fun times during COVID lockdown and those fun workout inventions that we all tried doing at our homes. I remember trying to attach this band to my door to work out on my back, and that band snapped from that door and I flew back. I even have a video of it and I posted it on social media, and it's probably one of my most viewed videos. I think social media world likes to see me injure myself. But anyways, I was just reinventing myself at the time. I was just rediscovering who I was and what I loved and what I wanted in my life. And then during COVID, it was a blessing in disguise because it brought remote job opportunities. And as a single mom of 2 kids, it gave me an opportunity to land a remote job at Indeed Flex, which is a tech startup. It's under the umbrella of Indeed, and I got hired on a new role, and I moved up pretty quickly. I was managing a team, and I finally had steady income and stability. But even with all of that, still deep down, I knew that this wasn't my final track. So I asked for clarity. When you ask for it with a willing heart, God will definitely deliver. Fast forward to around fall 2023, still working at Indeed Flex, and there was a day where it was just a normal work day, or so it seems, and we had our usual team meeting, the whole company. And we all went on this company meeting thinking it was a normal all hands. And it was announced to us during that call that they are going to do layoffs. And if you receive an email after this meeting, it will say whether you've been laid off or you're staying here with Indeed Flex. It took everybody by surprise, And I recall after that meeting, I felt a sense of peace. A lot of people were feeling a lot of anxiety, but for some reason, I felt peace. And I recall praying to God. I was not asking Him to save my job because I knew and have seen Him work so much through my life leading up to that day that I trusted Him in whatever decision came through my inbox. And I basically prayed for my team to ensure that they have the strength within them to continue moving forward of whatever decision was made. I was praying for other people. And I was telling God, thank you. I was telling Him I was grateful for the opportunity and that I trust in Him that whatever He has planned for me, that I'm going to be okay. And eventually I did receive an email, and it wasn't an email for me to be laid off. I was saved at the time. But eventually, fast forward to January 2024, I did my first prayer fast. And I asked God to work through me. I knew that Indeed Flex was not my final destination as far as my career. Always within me, I always felt I had a deeper purpose to serve people. So during the prayer fast, I asked God, if this job isn't where I'm supposed to be, just show me. Let me make an impact and let me help people. That's all I want to do. I want to serve the purpose that you have planned for me. And then the following month, February 2024, I got a random notification on Upwork. And let me remind you, my profile had been silent for at least 4 years. It was silent because my focus changed directions to do the job at Indeed Flex. So I stopped freelancing. And I randomly got a random notification on Upwork that I had a job offer. It was very, very odd at the time. And after that one, another offer came in and another one. And suddenly, it was like clarity turned the volume up. I was like, man, I see something here. And the people that I was meeting, my clients at the time, there was this one lady. She runs a marketing agency in Florida. And she spoke life into me. And she says, you know, you're not just a freelancer. And she's somebody that she hired me on actually as a event marketing specialist. But I helped her build automated systems through Monday.com for her business, making things more streamlined and efficient for her and her clients and her employees. And she told me, you have something special. You are really good at project management and business operations. I think you need to change your direction and focus on that because you're not a virtual assistant. You're not just a coordinator. You definitely have a gift. And from then on, I was hearing things so loudly for me to start my business. And that's what I did. In March, I officially launched MEESH Agency. I got it as an LLC, and month by month, I saw the momentum grew. People resonated with the message that I had, our slogan, where organizing chaos is an art, because I wasn't just selling services, I was sharing my testimony with my clients. But here's the part most people don't talk about when clarity comes. Sometimes it requires a leap before you feel ready to land. And I tell you again, that voice, God was speaking to me very clearly and very loudly ever since I got my business in 2024, month to month. I heard him tell me to leave Indeed Flex and let go of my job. And that's something that I don't take lightly. being a single mom of 2 kids. I was scared. And even though I was scared and nervous, there was like this silent confidence within me that everything was going to be okay. So I had a choice. Either I stay in this safety net or I stay obedient to what God is telling me and take that leap of faith. And I did. In October 2024, I put in my 2 weeks notice, claimed my last bonus of the year, and left Indeed Flex. And I knew this wasn't just a business decision, it was a faith decision. And I definitely obeyed, and I stepped fully into my calling. Life was moving very fast when I stepped into my calling. And it's a different feeling when you're been in a waiting period for 6 years and going through and taking those steps and leading up to stepping fully into your calling. Life definitely does move fast, but here's the thing. Even though you are positioned into something beautiful, something that you might have not imagined when you were in a waiting period, is that life still happens. There's realness, there's pause, and your faith will be tested. And I will tell you this. In about May, June 2025, which is literally 1 or 2 months ago, there was crickets in my business. I was having maybe 1 to 2 clients. There was no leads, no momentum, just stillness. And I panicked. I was bawling, crying my eyes out, trying to figure what I did wrong. I was updating my resume, and I was willing to go back and find me a job in the corporate world. But here's the thing. I paused instead of trying to dive into something I knew that I shouldn't be going back to. And I believe, and I have learned over the years, that when you are put in stillness, it's an opportunity for you to learn and embrace what is happening in front of you. And so that's what I did. I reworked my business, revamped my business model, refocused on the people I was meant to serve, because I was truly going way over my head when life was moving fast when I stepped into my calling. And I made decisions that I wasn't supposed to. And so I recommitted to the reason of why I started. I could have quit. I could have gave in, but I kept pushing day by day. And when I did do that, clients started showing up. And it wasn't just clients. They were aligned ones, aligned with my purpose, aligned with the vision, my mission, purpose-driven clients. And I knew that that was my confirmation that clarity had been in the middle all along. So now I want to turn this back to you and give you a moment to reflect on your own clarity track. What part of your life have you labeled as stuck that might actually be sacred? Where are you pressing pause when you might actually be in the process of being remastered? I want you to write it down, sit with it deeply, and let God speak to you. Sit in the silence and absorb what is in front of you, because you do have the resources within you and around you. So whatever your middle looks like, it's not a detour. It's part of your track list. Clarity doesn't only come once the chaos is gone. It often shows up in the middle of it. So say it with me one more time. Purpose will meet me in the middle. Even here, I am not lost. Thank you so much for pressing play on purpose today. If this track spoke to you, share it with someone else who's in the middle. Leave a review, come back next week, and you've got the Clarity Tapes Journal. Write your reflection now. Until next time, keep pressing play.